Well, hey everybody, this is Chris DiFurio with Keys to the Shop. Welcome to another edition of Shift Break. Today's episode is brought to you by La Marzocco, who's been making espresso machines by hand in Florence since 1927. And one of the reasons why so many people in the world trust La Marzocco is their unmatched dedication to innovation, quality, and dependability. And you don't need to look any further than one of the machines that I actually suggest for a lot of my clients, which is the Linea PB. The Linea PB is designed by and named in recognition of Piero Bambi, and it introduces a whole new level of performance, reliability, and craftsmanship. Of course, you know the name Linea from just the iconic machine that we've seen throughout the industry for so many decades. I personally have worked on many Lineas. The PB takes this to the next level of dependability. The lower profile machine is equipped with a exclusive user-friendly interface software that gives the barista direct functional control over boiler temperature, brewing volume, hot water tap dose, auto backflush, and many other options. So you can see why this is one of the machines that I suggest to my clients, and I would definitely suggest you check out La Marzocco at lamarzocco.usa.com. If you're looking for an amazing espresso machine for your cafe or your cafes, then email info@lamarzocco.usa.com, and one of their salespeople will help you find the right machine for your business. Again, info@lamarzocco.usa.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by Espressly, who's creating custom branded mobile apps for your coffee shop. A custom branded mobile app with Espressly fully integrates with Square. It has a centralized loyalty program for each coffee shop, which is fully customizable in Square for how many points you earn and redeem. You can sign up for a Square loyalty trial, and then it starts at only $45 a month per location. And Espressly does not charge a separate fee for having loyalty on in the app. This is just one of the features and benefits of working with Espressly, as well as just the fact that there's no setup or development fee with the Espressly app. Having a custom branded mobile app is truly a great convenience for your customers, where you're not just a dot on a map. You've got that real estate on their phone, and this is just a wonderful service. So go ahead and check out Espressly and get signed up today over at espressly.co. That's espressly.co. All right, everyone. Well, today let's talk about change. Change is one of the things that I deal with often. When I'm working with clients, usually it's because we are either building something from the ground up that needs to be built, or we're taking something that's already built and we're making it better, or we're fixing something. And sometimes when you have a coffee shop that's been around for a while, you accumulate a lot of things that you wish were different, but you just don't have time to change them right now. And so often what we do is we just don't change anything. But then things come to a head. Everything kind of coalesces into a big mess. And we say, I need help. Sometimes people will reach out to me and I'm happy to help, and we'll tease apart what's happening and find the best solutions. This is what I do with assessments when I go to a coffee shop. Well, sometimes it's not because there's a huge issue. Sometimes it's just because let's get a checkup and then we'll coach afterwards. But the big thing that we always talk about is, what is the priority to focus on right now? You know, you want to change everything at once, but that would be not the right way to go about it. There are things you could change that will make a big difference. And then there are things you will change too quickly that will have the opposite outcome of what you want. And instead of just taking on everything and trying to get it over with as quickly as possible, I would encourage people to grab a hold of what the number one priority thing is and start changing that thing consistently, but slowly, and then move on to something else that you've got on your list over time. And the thing that you have to remember is that often when you get to a point where you realize that there's a big problem, you got there over time. Time that has allowed people to acclimate to whatever dysfunction happens to be on the bar. This is just the way we do it now. And yeah, it's not ideal, but it is ours, you know? It's not great, but it's mine. It's the way we do things. And really, people would love it if it was different. But the fear of change and actually having to work in almost a messier situation in order to get to a better situation is too great. You know, this is Kotter's change principle. John Kotter talked about change management famous father of change management thought. The principle is basically that the pain of the status quo has to outweigh the pain of change. And we get there collectively as a management team maybe, or as an owner, just singularly. But collectively, people may not feel the pain anymore. It may be we're just numb to it. So we don't feel the urgency that the owner feels about something related to workflow. So the fact that you take on workflow as a issue is objectively a good thing. However, for the people working on the bar, it means change. Change is dangerous, and they might need to be reacquainted with the pain of what it is by showing them what it is you want them to do, by including them in it and taking your time to not only include them and get their feedback, but also to say, hey, we're not going to change everything. We're just going to change this one thing. By doing that, minimum viable change, the one thing we can do without totally upending everybody's security, it builds trust credit. And we say, oh, that went well. We switched around the way the bar works. And you know what? My feet don't hurt as bad. I have fewer steps to walk. Let the positive impact of that change settle in. Then take on something else. It's easy to want to just rapid fire a bunch of changes, but I think that would be the wrong way to go. What's the one thing you could change pretty easily? Take your time to do it, then change it, and then let it sink in that this change has been a positive thing for all of us. That's how you introduce an environment that is not constantly changing. That's not what I want to say. I think what I would love to see from coffee bars is an environment that is effortlessly optimized because people are paying attention and kind of collectively saying, hey, is there something we can do to make this better? Not because we're just so angry or so dissatisfied, but maybe out of a sense of curiosity. And it might start with this sense of urgency born from frustration. But eventually, if you start with a minimum viable change, not maximally going after everything, then you will start to build that trust that we are the type of place who, if we see something that's not working, we'll change it. That is a cultural identity that you need to work yourself into. And it just doesn't happen overnight. No matter how much you work yourself up as the boss, you might listen to this podcast, or you might go to a Coffee Fest presentation, or, you might do a number of things that you're like, that's it. We're going to bulldoze the whole thing and start over again. You can have patience with this process and introduce these things slowly and still make progress with respect to the people that are receiving this new way of doing things. So to change, I think, means to also have patience. It means also to involve people collectively in the process of the change. And as this happens, you're going to see that with that kind of consistent thinking, you're going to turn over the way that you do a lot of things in the cafe, and you'll have a new way of working, a new way of feeling at work. And the results of the change that you enact will actually be realized instead of frustrated by sort of an impatient, forcing it to happen kind of way. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. There's something in your coffee shop that you need to focus on. Maybe it's affecting the customer service experience. Maybe it's affecting the workflow and ergonomics of the bar, quality and consistency of your beverages. Those are 3 great places to start. Address it. Start this process. Be patient with it. Once the change happens, let the benefit of it sink in. You take on something else. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that's something that you can take and use in your coffee shop today. I hope it encourages you as well. So thanks everybody for joining me, and I will see you here next week on another edition of Shift Break. From keys to the shop.